Hello, Brave Nation. Welcome into another episode of BraveHawk Talk here on the Uncp Sports Network. I am John Gross, and I'm so happy to have all of you with us for another episode of BraveHawk Talk. This is episode 7 already. It's crazy how far we've come since we got this endeavor started just a few weeks ago. Another awesome show on tap for all of you today. We start off by talking with this week's Scotland Health Student Athlete of the Week from the UNC Pembroke volleyball team, Savannah Bean. And then we end today's show by talking to a guy who is one of the more unique coaches, at least in my eyes, on campus at UNCP, balancing coaching softball with being a student. That's Tanner Bullard. That coming up next on BraveHawk Talk. Savannah, first of all, thank you so much for joining me on BraveHawk Talk. I really appreciate it, and I know things are kind of crazed out there right now, but I appreciate you taking time out of your day to talk with me.
No, thank you for having me.
How have you been holding up over the last few weeks, you and your family?
We're doing pretty good. My dad still has to go into work. He's considered, I guess, one of the essential employees, but pretty much my mom's been working from home. My brother's been working from home, so I'd rather us all be together and under different circumstances, but we're doing pretty good other than that.
Absolutely. Well, I'm certainly glad to hear that. So as now we take a look at your volleyball career and your time at UNCP, let's start by taking a time machine, trip back in time to kind of when you started playing volleyball. When did you start playing, and what kind of piqued your interest to start playing?
So I started playing right before my freshman year of high school. The high school coach where I went, she's really good family and friends with us, and I was always, really tall for my age, so she always encouraged me to come out and come to all the summer clinics and camps, and I actually always danced from the time when I was little all the way throughout high school, so I wasn't ever into any other sports besides that, but during the summer I was just bored, so I went to one of the camps and ended up really liking it, so I tried out my freshman year and been playing ever since.
And before that, had you ever given any thought to playing volleyball?
Before that, no, except for maybe at the beach or if it was a little week-long summer camp. But never played really until right before my freshman year.
And you mentioned playing at the beach. You're from Florida. Have you played beach volleyball competitively at all?
I did. I played a few tournaments, nothing really serious, but one of my teammates from high school played a little bit, so I would partner with her. But yeah, that's about it. I'd love to get back into it, kind of being retired, I guess, now and all, but it's a lot of fun.
I know beach and indoor are very different. What are some of the differences between the two, and what are some of the challenges that playing beach volleyball presents?
So definitely I would say beach is way harder just because, you have just as much room, except in beach you only have 2 people, and of course you're playing through sand. I would say that's probably the biggest challenge, is just playing in the sand, because it's so much harder to move, and it really is just a whole different technique to playing sand ball than there is to playing on the court. Although
I'm sure when you're diving after balls, it's probably a lot nicer to just kind of settle into the sand.
It does feel a lot better. It feels a lot better. I try not to hit the floor when we're playing, because I'm always in the front. So if I'm hitting the floor, we've got problems. But
there's an issue.
It definitely feels a lot better in the
sand. So you say you started your career in high school. You played throughout high school. And then you start to look towards playing in college. At what point did you realize that you would have the opportunity to play volleyball at the next level in college?
So I started playing my freshman year. I played all freshman year. I played club all throughout high school. I think maybe my sophomore year of club ball was when my coaches started talking to me about, if I wanted to play college ball, now was kind of the time to start looking. And of course, again, I had really just started playing at that point, so I didn't give it too much thought until my junior year. And again, they were like, if you want to do college ball, now's the time to get into it. So I started kind of looking around, had a couple coaches come and watch me, but then I think by the end of my junior year, I decided that was something I really wanted to do, and started taking the recruiting process a little more seriously.
And when you look back to that time, if you could have picked, theoretically, let's say you had an offer from every single college in the country, did you have like a favorite college volleyball team once you started playing?
Um, that's hard. We've always been Florida fans, but that was a little, little out of the league, especially since I started playing so late. I don't know. I definitely, being from Florida, I kind of wanted to go somewhere new. So I spent a lot of time looking at schools in Georgia, North Carolina, South Carolina. So I didn't really have like one school picked out, I guess, like as my favorite.
And you mentioned, wanting to kind of venture to new places, and you started your career at Anderson, right, in South Carolina?
I did, yes.
So how'd you end up there initially?
So I ended up there. I took a visit there. I think it was about like around the Thanksgiving of my senior year. Visited there, loved the area. I had family kind of close. I had a cousin that went to Clemson, and those are really close together. So I'd be somewhere new, but still close to family. Took a visit there, and then their coach ended up leaving. So I, kept looking because they didn't have a coach for a little bit. When their new coach came in, they gave me a call back probably like 3 or 4 months later, and I still hadn't, decided where I wanted to go yet. So when he called me, I kind of figured that was my sign, and so that's where I ended up the first round.
And then from there, you made the transition to UNC Pembroke. So what went into your decision to attend UNCP?
So Anderson ended up, not being the best fit for me, but I started looking at more schools, and really, I think the biggest factor going into it was like the team dynamic. When I came, I stayed with my old roommate, Anna Hines, and just the way the team was just so welcoming, and Coach McGill was, over the top during my visit, just made me feel like right at home. So that was kind of, for me, a no-brainer to come to UNCP.
And now that your career as a college volleyball player is I guess in the rearview mirror, how do you assess how your career went?
Yeah, it had definitely some ups and downs, had some injuries, but overall, I really wouldn't change anything. I kind of wish I had found Pembroke sooner. I definitely feel like everyone there is like family. Love my coaches, love my teammates. But yeah, I wouldn't change anything. I love it.
And
wish I could go back a little bit.
To do it all over again the same way at UNCP, yeah. I feel you as a recent college graduate. I feel the exact same way about my time in college as well. And you look back to this season too, 15-21. That's the most wins for UNCP since 2014. So you'd been there for some of those years where as a program you struggled and had to try to grind out some victories and struggled in conference play. So then what was it like this past season to find that success?
Honestly, it was one of the best feelings, just knowing that we almost kind of felt like we had bad taboo on our backs, playing and just not being able to come out on top in the end. So being able to finally come together, everybody was on the same page. Everybody wanted it. Everyone wanted to win more than anything. So to be able to work together with not only your teammates, but, your friends, to be able to accomplish something that not only us had been working for, but the coaches and everyone before us, to finally be able to, start getting it done and be able to set the way, for the underclassmen. Really, it just was one of the best feelings to be able to walk out like that.
And was there a sense last summer as you made your way towards the start of the regular season that, okay, this year is a little bit different?
Yeah, I think so. I definitely feel like we were all, finally all on the same page. We had all been, working out over the summer. We even, held each other accountable in our group chats. Everyone had a text in every day, what we did for our workouts, how long, what were we all doing. And finally, when we came back, it wasn't like we were all super rusty or everything. We were already came in focused, just ready to get it all done.
And what do you hope that your legacy is with this program, the legacy that you've created and left here at UNCP?
Oh, wow. I just hope that, I hope, but I know they'll do this too, but just to really, just keep working hard, as a team, volleyball, it's a team sport. There's 6 of you on the court, so there's not one person that's going to go out there and get it all done. So I would just hope that everyone, just works hard, And again, no matter what the circumstances might be, like there's always a way to get through it, get over it, and come out on top.
Everyone always talks about how sports transcends just, playing the game itself, whatever it may be. You learn life lessons, you learn how to work as a team, you learn how to do a lot of different things through sports. So whether it's from your time in the court or conversations you've had with the coaching staff or your teammates, what are some of the biggest things that you say that you learned from playing at UNCP?
I would say, kind of going off what I just finished, I mean, there really is nothing you can't do if you put your mind to it. You might have to figure out like a different strategy or a different way around it, but, if you put your mind to it and you really put your thought in, plan it out, there's always some route, some way to get it done. And I think that would be one of the biggest things I took away being an athlete.
So I see, at least on the website, you're a zoology major. Is that correct?
I am, yeah.
Okay.
Well, just bio, but yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about that. What got you interested in that?
I would say I really like science, and that kind of, I guess, like process of elimination. I'm not too big into math. Really, reading and writing, not my thing. But I definitely love science. Love learning about things in life and how they work. All that kind of stuff.
And do you have a dream job in that regard, in that field?
Yeah, so I would love to be a vet specifically for like marine animals. So working with like dolphins or doing like turtle conservation, anything like with marine animals is something that I'm really trying to figure out how to get there and we want to do.
Do you have a favorite animal?
Oh, that's hard. I love dogs, but other than that, I would say a sea otter.
A sea otter. That's
Yeah.
Awesome. That is a great animal.
They're
And
super cute.
if I remember correctly, you had your dog with you in the video shoot, right?
Yes, he's right here with me too, Sir Edward.
Sir Edward. Yes, that was we did almost every team that went on the big screen in there. Actually, we did do every team. And you were the only one who brought a pet with them. So that was awesome.
That's another thing. So if people look back, if they can remember Edward, then I've done my job.
So Edward has a legacy as well.
Yes, I hope.
So we like to end with a fun question to make you think a little bit here.
Okay.
So I'll give you some time to think about this answer if you need. You can spend 1 year living somewhere that you have never been. It can't be a state that you've been in, a region of the country. It could be a completely different country, but somewhere completely new and foreign to you based on your experiences. Where would you choose to live for 1 year and why?
So one place that's always been on my bucket list, I really, really want to go to is Australia, specifically like the Great Barrier Reef, just because I love the ocean. I love like marine animals. So that's definitely, without a doubt, that's where I would want to go.
That's awesome. And do you snorkel or scuba dive? Because I know that's
I've
big
done,
over there.
Lots of snorkeling, and I actually did just get Scuba certified. So that would be a nice little place to go test out my new certification.
That's awesome. So have you've gone scuba diving before, like deep in the ocean?
Not in the ocean. Yeah, I just got certified, so we did like our closing. I had to do like my whole course in the pool, and then we went to a spring nearby, and so we went to a lake one day and a spring one day because we had to do like 2 of our checkout dives. So haven't gotten to go anywhere else yet, just because with everything going on, but.
Well, that is awesome, and congratulations on a very stellar career here at UNCP, and talked about the legacy that you and the senior class has left, and look forward to following this program for years to come, and best of luck with your future plans as well.
Thank you so much. This was fun. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Edward.
Yes, thank you both for joining on the podcast. And if Sir Edward would like to share a message as well, he's more than welcome to.
He's right here. Yeah, he misses it. I think he misses all of his friends. So, yeah, we look forward to hopefully coming back soon and visiting and catching out a volleyball game.
Great. Well, Savannah, thank you again. Thanks to Savannah for hopping on today's show, and also a thank you to Edward, a special guest, for joining her as well. Up next, he's a student He's a coach, Tanner Bullard, student assistant for the UNCP softball team, right here on BraveHawk Talk. Tanner, first of all, thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it. You have classes and everything, so thank you so much for taking time out of your day to talk with me.
Yeah, thanks, John.
First of all, how have you been doing over the last few weeks?
Oh, been doing pretty good. It's been an adjustment being from full time at Pembroke and being with the softball team. This was our season, and now adjusting to coming back home and adjusting to online classes, but it's been a good transition.
You mentioned your first year at Pembroke. You were named the student assistant last July, but I want to go back a little bit and talk about where your passion from softball came from. So when did you really fall in love with the sport, and when did you decide that you might want to get into coaching?
Well, John, I always grew up with my older cousins. They played softball all their lives, basically, until they got ending at high school. And so I grew up going to their games and enjoying. And then my sister and a younger sister started playing. And so I was always around softball. So I've been around softball probably my whole 21 years of my life. But I coached middle school with my aunt in my senior year of high school, and I fell in love with the game of coaching and just being involved and being outside every day and being at practice and enjoying the environment that the game has to offer. Finished second in the regular season and runner-up in the conference tournament that year, and I knew then that if I could have that much fun with that group of girls at that time, that I can go on and do big things and just have just as much fun as I could with any other group.
So you start your college time at Southeastern Community College, and while you were there, you really did a lot, beyond just the classroom, and you were an assistant coach of the softball program, but you were also the Student Government Association president and sat on the Southeastern Community College Board of Trustees. So what was that like, balancing everything right out of high school?
Well, it was a year, but it was my sophomore year that all that come about, and I was also involved in our ambassador program at Southeastern, but had a good friend, Kaylee Paul, president my first year, and she encouraged me as to be Student Government Association president, and so I'd done that, and it was busy. I had a busy schedule. But it was good. It kept me busy. It kept me focused in my academics. Kept me focused in on what the student body was looking for at the college. What we could help provide the students with change. Sitting on the board of trustees, that's a very honor that the SGA president is able to have. I think there's not a lot of student input, and with me and the future and past SGA presidents being able to be that student voice, it was very essential and just an honor felt to be on there. And then coaching softball right in the midst of planning activities, planning Valentine's Day party, paint parties, it just put the cherry on the top. Getting the coach, going out every day, playing schools up in Virginia to the central region of North Carolina to down to South Carolina. We played up and down the coast, and it's a good feeling, but it was some days I was like, why am I doing this? but I did get a great experience out of it, made a lot of connections, and one of those connections led me here to be a student assistant with the softball staff here.
So you mentioned one of those connections helping you get to the position you're in now. So what was the process like to become a student assistant coach here at UNCP?
Well, at Southeastern Community College last year, we were able to do an exhibition game with Pembroke, and so I emailed Coach Bennett, Brittany Bennett, at the beginning, right before we met that week. And I said, look, I'm looking for an opportunity to continue my coaching. I want to get some experience out of it. We met that Friday in January and talked a little bit. She told me to send her my resume and a few references over. And we did that. And then about right when, last year when softball was going to PVC tournament, we met earlier that week and just talked about what I wanted to get out of the program at UNC Pembroke and what she could offer me, her and Coach Graz. And so she gave me an option, and from there I took it, and here I am now.
And do you remember what your answer was regarding what you wanted to take out of that position?
So she told me, to think about it for not that first week in May, because they were going to their conference tournament, and so was our team with Southeastern. We were going to our conference tournament that weekend, so it weren't about till later in June. She told me, or at that first meeting, she said you could be a volunteer or a student assistant coach, and she explained the differences of what would be beneficial for both positions, and so I made the decision to be an assistant coach.
Very cool. And obviously working with Coach Bennett and Coach Graziani, what are some of the biggest things that you've learned under them?
You're going to have a lot of trial by fire. That's a big thing. Coming to a new school, adjusting to a higher level of collegiate sport of softball has been a change for me. And just the different trial by fires that come with the coaching every day at this level.
I think one of the reasons why I really wanted to talk with you was because you're in a very unique situation. And I can't imagine there are too many people out there who have done all that you have and are balancing being a student and being an assistant coach. So how have you been able to balance coaching at this high of a level with your classwork? And it looks like you're double majoring as well.
It's been a lot of time management, John, I tell you that. There's days where the field has to be ready for practice, and I'd have the time I get done with class, I grab a snack and go out to the field and have it ready for our players to play and to practice on. If it was a day before game day and I needed to study a test, I had to fix the field first before I could go study that test. And so, it's a lot of time management, but it's doable. It's doable, and if people decide to take a route like I have, I give them the advice: just be time management with your time, and enjoy the time you have with your team, but also make sure you're focused on your academics, because that's your main purpose of what you're there at the university to get.
Well, you look back at this season, and it was a season that was unfortunately cut short, but it was a season that, in speaking preseason, Coach Bennett and I was really excited about it, and we saw some success from the program. So when you look back on this season, what's your overall assessment of what went down?
Just a lot of gelling together. I saw a lot of I felt like we were already gelled going into the season. All the girls had a great bond. I think we were hitting our peak in our stride to be really a force to be known with within the PVC. We had a very good non-conference schedule, I believe. Played some good teams, played some really good games. Limestone Autism Awareness Series. That was a really great series. Mount Olive was a good team, good play. So we played a really good non-conference schedule, and I think we were hitting right at the peak of going into PBC play to where we could be competitive up at least in the top 5 conference.
And again, unfortunately, the season was cut short. But like you said, there was success, and it really, from my perspective at least, a very fun team to watch and a fun team to work with. That's for sure. Now, as I guess you take a step back and look at where you are now, and look down the road, what are your career goals?
Well, just hopefully to get another year of learning. First of all, learning more about the game. I feel like since our season was cut off so short due to COVID-19, I've learned a lot, but I felt like there was more to learn, and so within the next year, hopefully, I can be able to fully learn from Coach Grant and Coach Grads. They have been wonderful mentors to me. We talk a lot. I told them actually today that I miss seeing them. I miss seeing our girls. But hopefully I'll have a coaching job in the near future after I obtain my degree, and hopefully attain my master's degree. Just somewhere where I can gain experience and enjoy the game and enjoy what I'm doing at the level.
Now, you mentioned earlier that your passion for softball kind of came from your family and your cousins, and that your sister plays softball. And if my research is correct, your sister plays at Lees McRae, right?
No, she's a senior this year in high school. She is going to Lees McRae College starting in the fall. Okay,
so she'll be starting her career at Lees McRae in the fall, and I know that's an area program. I don't know what the future schedules look like, but let's say hypothetically UNCP were to play Lees McRae, you'd be on opposite dugouts. What would that be like for you?
Oh, John, I thought about this so much, and it's been a killer. I tell everybody I go watch her play in high school, and I'm so nervous for her. I just I want her to do good. I want her to be her best. And if we had the chance to play, I'd probably still be. But I had to focus on our team and wanting us to succeed and work on building our skills and getting better. But it definitely would be tough.
What do you think your family would decide to do? Who would they be rooting for in that game, if anyone?
They would always choose my sister because she's playing.
I totally understand that. Well, we like to end all of our interviews with a bit of a fun question, and this is a new one here. If you could compare yourself with any animal, which would it be and why? So basically, what animal do you feel like I guess you are, and why would that be?
Oh, wow.
I'll let you think about it.
Yeah, this is a very unique question.
We try to keep it fun and interesting on BraveHawk Talk.
Yeah. I guess I'd say I don't know, a giraffe. I would call myself a giraffe. I know that's very out of the ordinary, but I feel like giraffes, they have a long neck, so sometimes they have to bend over to do stuff. And so, being how tall I am, I get to reach things for other people that they are not able to reach for. So I guess that would be my animal.
I like the answer. So one of your responsibilities is the guy who grabs everything from the top shelf?
Yeah.
Awesome stuff. Well, Tanner, I really appreciate it, and what you're doing is so impressive, and I think, like I said before, I think it's a fairly unique situation, the experience that you've been able to get throughout your college time, and I look forward, and again, unfortunately the season was cut short, but I look forward to following you and the rest of the team's success in coming years.
Oh yes, I'm excited about next year's team. It's going to be a good group. We're going to have a lot of fun, and I can't wait to see what's going to happen.
Good. Looking forward to it. Tanner, thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Yes, thank you, John.
And that brings us to the end of episode 7 of BraveHawk Talk here on the UNCP Sports Network. Thanks again to Savannah and Tanner for joining me on today's show. And thanks to all of you for listening and for your support as we continue to roll on now in the month of April. We will be back on Friday with a brand new episode. Until then, make sure to stay up to date on all things UNCP athletics at uncpbraves.com and follow us on social media as well at UNCP_sports and on Facebook at UNCP Athletics. We'll talk to you Friday.